Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. and Miss Ryan. Are you alright?
Yeah.
Okay, so today's task very simple. Okay, so today we got the metric. Any metric with numbers, yeah, 1, 0. Let's just make it simple. Only contains 1 and 0. Okay.
1, 0, 0.
Okay, only contains 1 0. Okay. So let's do this. So if this is the metric, 3 times 3 matrix. So if we want to set the matrix by zeros, if the row contains 0. Okay. So for example, the first row contains 0. So we.
I get it.
So can you? And if it contains 0 for the columns, can you write it?
0.
Yeah. Yeah.
0.
Well done. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well done. Good job. So you understand the problem, yeah? So we set the matrix to 0 if it has the 0 in its row or column, right? For example, this 0. So you set all the 0 in this column and in this row, yeah? You got the 0 here, so here and here and here, but only this one, this one. Okay, you got it.
Can't go diagonal.
Yeah. Good point. You can't go with the diagonal, just the horizontal and vertical. So any idea how we solving this problem?
We will just do a blah blah blah.
So if you're not sure, how can we? The first approach we need to think about is what? If we don't have any idea. Sorry?
Brute forcing.
Brute forcing.
I was like, represent.
Yeah.
Brute forcing.
Brute forcing. Well done. We just follow the elements in the matrix, yeah. And if it's a 0.
Do what you just did.
Yeah. If a 0 is a 0, then what? If it's a 0, then we set all the numbers in its row to zeros.
And its columns.
And then your columns are zeros. Yeah? But there's a problem. Why is that? There's a pitfall of doing that. Look, if I put it here, right? If this is a 0, yeah? How do you know this 0 is at the beginning or not? So look at this, when we reach this point, we set all the rows, the first row to all 0, right? But how do you know? But this is already 0. But when you go to this 0, how do you know it's original 0 or it's the one we already flipped it? Set. We need to remember, yeah. The first we can do this, no problem. So when we meet the 0, we remember the row and the column, right? Yeah? Yeah, we remember the row and column. And then when we finish all of it, when we finish iterating all the elements in the rows, in the matrix, we go through. Yeah, we can push this row number and column number into a queue, right? We push it into the queue. And then we go through all the rows and columns in the queue to set all the rows, yeah, and columns to zeros. Am I right? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So we can do this, or we can have two sets. We can have 2 sets. One is the rows. One is the columns. What's a set? Can you tell me what's a set?
Only contains
unique numbers. Yeah. So if rows start at 1 and rows start at another 1, it only contains 1, right? Because it doesn't contain the duplicate numbers, right? So for example, right, rows start at 1, the first one, and then rows start at 2, and then rows start at 1. So can you tell me what happened in the rows? Rows start at 1, rows at 2, and rows at 1. So what are the elements in the rows? Can you tell me? Sorry?
1, 2, 1. 1, 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2 only. It doesn't have 1 because set only contains the unique numbers, right? Right, Ryan, yeah?
Yeah.
So 1 because it's unique, it has appeared before, so we only record it once in the set. Yeah, that's what it means. So once we have these rows and columns, so what do we do now? What do we do? we iterate, yeah, we iterate the number to list, and we check if the current row, if it's in the rows, then we set it to 0, right? Or if the columns, if the column number in the columns, we set it to 0, right? That's it. Do you understand? Do you understand? Yeah, because first of all, we go through this matrix. We remember, we record the number of, we record the rows and columns that contains zeros, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
And then we go through the matrix again. And as we go through the matrix, we know the row and column, right? And we just have to check the row and column if it's been in these two sets, right? Either of one, if it's in the rows or if it's in the columns. Then what do? We just do what? Erase it with a 0, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, let's go at it. This is not a difficult question, okay?
It's a medium.
Define set zeros, okay? Set matrix is 0. Let's do it M, okay? First of all, we need to remember the number of the rows and columns, okay? So let's do this. R, C equals what? Length M and length N 0, okay? Let's just assume that this matrix is not empty, okay? It contains only at least one element, right? The minimum matrix is this one, yeah? 1, okay? Just 1, okay? Just 1, like it, okay? So look, now first of all we need to contain let us put a capital R for the rows, capital C for the set, for the columns. So let's set and then set, okay? 2 sets. Then first of all we go through the element in the row, yeah?
Why did you do a capital R and
capital R? Because the variables in the Python is capital is case sensitive, okay? So uppercase and the lowercase is different, okay? So for let's say for I in range what? Range what? What number? We go through each row for range in what?
R.
And then for J in range what? In range what? For C, yes. Okay, so look, if matrix IJ, if it's 0, right? So what should we do? If the row I and column J, the element at row I column J is 0. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do?
R.
R dot what? Add what?
C.
Sorry, C? Huh? I row. And then C dot add what? Come on. Which one is column? Which one is column? IJ, which one is column?
J.
J, yeah, that's it. So first of all, we go through these elements and we found, okay, so let's do that again. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, let's do this, 1, 1, 1, okay. So what after this?
All of them are going to be zeros.
Okay, let's put this one, okay. So, so what happened for the R and C after these two loops? Can you tell me what's R? What's R? And what's C? R is what?
R.
Which rows contains zeros?
The first one and the second one.
So it's 0 and 1, yeah? Start with the, yeah? Which column contains the zeros? Come on, it's easy.
0 and 1.
0 and 1, yeah? Okay. How about if I put this as 0 as well? So, does it
All
change?
of them are going to be bad.
No. This is the same. Is it the same? Which columns contains which rows contains 0 and 1?
The first one and second one.
Yeah, still the same. Yeah. Which columns contains the 0 and 1?
The first one and the second one.
So it's 0 and 1. Yeah. That's what happened. This code, this bit of code, will produce these two. All we need to do. And then what should we do now? We just need to go through again, right? For I in range what? Range what? R. Yeah. For J in what? In range what? In when what?
9 minutes.
C. Okay.
10 minutes.
Then what should we do now? What should we do now? We go through that elements and then what should we do now? What should we do now? If what? Column is row is I. If I in what?
If I
In what?
in
Which one contains the rows we just visited? Come on. Come on.
rows.
Rows. R, yeah? R. Or J in what? J in what? In what?
C.
Yeah, in C. And then if this satisfy, what do we do now? We set it to 0, yeah? So how do we set it to 0? M,
Equals
I, row I, and
J.
J equals
0.
0. Okay.
Don't you return anything?
No, actually we can return it or we don't return it. That's okay. That's fine. Okay. Okay, let's say, yeah, if, okay, so this is pretty much it, yeah. We assume M is not, okay, maybe we can
11
just do
minutes.
this. If not M, then return, okay. Otherwise we'll return M, yeah. Return M, yeah. Okay, we'll create two set, yeah. I'll create two set. What's the time complexity?
ORC.
What's R and C?
The rows and columns.
Okay, what's the space complexity? This is quite tricky. What's the space complexity?
O N.
Oh, what's N?
R.
R.
Plus E.
Why is plus C? Can you tell me? Why is plus C?
Because we plus in the rows and
So,
columns
yeah.
to make it. Yeah.
Why, Ryan, Eric? Why is OR plus C? It's OR plus C. Why? Why?
Because.
What space are we using here?
12
What space
minutes.
What space?
Set.
Set. And how many sets are we using?
2.
And what are those?
R and C.
Rows and columns, yeah?
Yeah.
And how many rows do we possibly have in a row? How many rows? How many rows? R, right?
Yeah.
And how many columns?
C.
Okay, so we're using two space, so it's R plus C, okay? Yeah, this is very tricky. It's not R and C, okay? Got it? Got it? Does it make sense? Okay, I'm just going to erase this bit, okay? Maybe those bit, okay?
Whoa!
Come on, write it. That's it. If this is the row, this is the column, and what? Yeah?
Too fat.
Ryan, help Gaga. If what?
I don't know. Are you kidding? If
I. Yeah.
plus.
No. If I is the row, and we want to check if this is in what? In
If
in
in
R. Yeah. Or what?
or C.
In C.
C. Whoops. Or C and C.
Yeah.
Or
This R is
Is it
capital
J?
R. Oh, J, yeah. Oh, J. J is the column, yeah. J in. You need to put a space, but that's okay. In what?
raw.
I in
Rows.
row. J in what?
Column.
C, yeah. And column. And then what do we do? We need to set it to 0. So what do we do?
10.
What do we do?
7.
How do we set it to 0? M. Yes, and then M what? Yeah, bracket. Yeah, call it let's square bracket, yes. I, yes, we're done. And then yes, and then another one. Z, yeah. And then yes, we're done. Good job. And then what? Set it to 0. Come on. That should be pretty easy, yes. Why you have to double if you assign it, you only use one, yeah? If you want to check one finger equal means I want to put this 0. I want to update these to 0.
Yeah.
Two double equal means what? We want to check if this is equal, right?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so one finger equal. That's good job. Okay, that's it for today. Good job.
Bye.
Bye.